Hospitals are places where time behaves differently. Seconds stretch into eternities in the quiet ticking of machines, while hours collapse into moments when hope rises or falls. For Daniel, time had become a cruel accountant, measuring out the remainder of his life in diminishing heartbeats. He was 33, too young to be speaking in terms of endings. But his diagnosis had left no illusions. He was living on borrowed time. He had learned to walk the corridors of the oncology wing with a kind of numb acceptance, like a ghost rehearsing for his own absence. He noticed everything others overlooked: the way light fell through the blinds in stripes, the smell of antiseptic mixed with faint traces of cafeteria coffee, the shuffle of slippers against tiled floors. The hospital had become not just a place of treatment, but a stage for his final act. It was in that stage that he met her. Clara was sitting by the window of the common lounge, her hair wrapped in a scarf of deep blue, her skin pale, but her eyes alive with a kind of quiet defiance. She was reading, though her hands trembled ever so slightly as she held the book. Daniel paused when he saw her, struck not by her beauty, though it was undeniable, but by the way she seemed to be holding on to the world as if it were already trying to let her go. Their first conversation began awkwardly, sparked by a comment about the book in her hands. "Is it any good?" he asked, gesturing toward the dog-eared copy of The Little Prince. She looked up, her lips curving into a soft smile. "It's about seeing with the heart, not the eyes." "So yes, it's good. Especially here." That was how it began: two patients, two strangers, two clocks running out, finding each other in the narrow overlap of their remaining time. They started meeting every afternoon, first out of coincidence, then out of intention. They would sit by the window and talk, weaving threads of conversation that carried them far away from four poles and monitors. She told him about her love for painting, how she once filled her small apartment with canvases bursting with color. He confessed he used to run marathons, chasing finish lines that now felt like dreams belonging to another man. Theirs was not the kind of love that blossomed slowly. It was urgent, raw, born of the knowledge that tomorrow was not promised. Every look, every word carried weight because each might be the last. Where others fell in love in chapters, Daniel and Clara compressed a lifetime into stolen pages. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hospital, painting the sky in streaks of fire and ash, Clara whispered, "Do you ever feel like we're dancing on the edge of a cliff?" Daniel nodded, taking her frail hand in his. "Every day. But maybe that's why the dance matters more." They made a promise then, not to waste what remained. They began living fiercely in the cracks between treatments. Sometimes that meant sneaking onto the hospital roof to watch the stars, wrapped in blankets as if they could shield themselves from fate. Sometimes it was as simple as sharing pudding cups from the cafeteria, laughing until their laughter turned to coughing, then to silence, then to the comfort of each other's presence. They wrote letters to each other's they might never get to read in the future. Daniel kept hers under his pillow, words inked with trembling hands, but carrying the strength of eternity. "If I leave first," she had written once, "remember that love doesn't die. It lingers in every breath, every sky, every whisper of the wind." The doctors never spoke of hope. They spoke in percentages, in clinical terms that stripped life of its poetry. But Clara and Daniel found poetry anyway. They began calling themselves thieves of time, stealing days from the hands of inevitability. One morning, Clara's condition worsened. Her breath came shallow, her body weaker. Daniel sat by her bed, holding her hand as if his grip could tether her to the world. "I'm scared," she admitted, her voice breaking like glass. He brushed his lips against her knuckles. "Me too. But we've already beaten time. Look at us, we created a forever in weeks." Tears pooled in her eyes. "Do you think it counts? Do you think love still matters if it doesn't last?" Daniel's voice trembled, but his conviction did not. "Love doesn't measure itself in years, Clara. It measures itself in depth. Ours is deeper than most people know in a lifetime." That night, Daniel dreamed of a field of wildflowers, endless and bright. Clara was there, barefoot, twirling in the wind, her scarf gone, her laughter free. When he woke, her bed was empty. The silence of that morning was unbearable. He felt as though the walls themselves mourned her absence, the corridors echoing with the hollow space she once filled. Nurses offered him gentle condolences, but their words fell like pebbles into a bottomless well. Daniel returned to the lounge by the window, the place where it had all begun. The chair where she had sat seemed etched with her memory. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the last letter she had given him, unopened until now. With shaking hands, he unfolded it. "Daniel, if you are reading this, it means I am gone. Please don't grieve too long. We were both living on borrowed time, but maybe that made our love purer. You gave me laughter when pain should have been all I had left. You gave me warmth when I was surrounded by cold. And most of all, you gave me a reason to believe that even a short story can be the most beautiful. Promise me one thing, that you'll carry our forever with you and live your remaining days not in mourning, but in gratitude. For in the end, we didn't lose. We won love, however brief. Yours always, Clara." Daniel pressed the letter to his heart, tears streaming down his face. For the first time since his diagnosis, he felt something beyond despair. He felt her within him, her voice in the wind, her warmth in the sunlight, her laughter in the echo of memory. He realized then that borrowed time wasn't about how long they had. It was about how fiercely they lived in the moments they were given. Love, after all, doesn't ask for eternity, it asks only to be true. In the weeks that followed, Daniel began writing in a journal Clara had left by his bedside. Not of illness, not of pain, but of small joys, a child waving to him from the hospital garden, the way rain tapped against the glass, the taste of coffee on tired mornings. Each entry was his way of carrying her promise, of living for both of them. One evening, he returned to the hospital roof where they had once watched the stars. Alone now, wrapped in the same blanket, he whispered to the night sky, "We made every moment count, Clara, every single one." And for a fleeting second, as the wind brushed his cheek, he could almost feel her hand in his, light as starlight, eternal as love.